So maybe you're feeling like you want to get into meditation, but you feel like it's a little bit too much, just sitting there in silence, right? Well, my name is Marcus. This is Discover Ignite, where we discover possibilities and ignite change. Now, today I'm actually doing a book review for you guys, and the book I'm actually going to be reviewing is called Stress Less, Accomplish More by Emily Fletcher. Now, this book, I must say, if you are struggling with meditation, you're going to want to read this book. So hold on, stick tight. Let's get this book review started. So I must first say, right, before even picking up this book, why did I really grab this book right now? Emily Fletcher is someone I didn't really know nothing about. Now, a lot of people I do follow, I have seen her around, right? And it was just curious. She had a new book out and it was about meditation. Now, I know some of her backstory a little bit. I believe she was a Broadway actress. And she was stressing out a lot in her life, and I guess she ran across a friend that had been meditating, and she's like, oh, that's not for me, I can't do that, right? She's like everybody in the fact that you try to sit and you can't meditate to save your life, right? So that's essentially where she was coming from and where a lot of us come from, right? And so she essentially went on this journey to become this instructor, right, in meditation, and she spent, I think, 3 years or something like that and developed this business that's, she's become world renowned in. And that's just the biggest thing, right? This book itself, right, essentially guides you into her meditation. Now, she goes over a lot of different things. A lot of people have questions, right? A lot of questions I had when I first got into meditation, right? Because a lot of people, may not know the difference between, what is mindfulness and what is actual meditation. And I myself, I didn't know the difference either, until as of late, where, mindfulness is more of this, focusing on specific things, or meditation is actually going into a deep, essentially like a beta stage in which you get this more greater energy than you would essentially if you went to bed, right, and you slept a full night's sleep. And so that's essentially what it is meditation is reaching that state, that beta state, in which you can actually become more energized in life. And that's essentially what meditation does and what she's trying to teach. But she tries to teach it in a way essentially that you can actually do it in a shorter period of time, right? Because a lot of people are like, well, I'm so busy, there's no way I'm going to be able to put this in my life. And she breaks that down, right? She does smaller sessions, right? Essentially like 15-minute sessions, but she wants you to essentially do it twice a day. Essentially one for the morning and one for the afternoon. And she talks about this, right? She talks about the two different, between mindfulness and meditation. And then she dives into some stories essentially about, what she calls a zebra, right? The zebra meditation, I believe I'm saying it correctly. And this is essentially what she uses, right? And it's essentially just getting your breathing, right, to essentially calm all your nerves down and essentially put you in this meditative state. And then essentially, say your mantra, right? You come up with this mantra, it has to be your mantra essentially, right? And something that means something to you, and then you go through this mantra, and to not stop these thoughts, right? And she reiterates this a lot through the book, is to not allow yourself to try to cancel out the thoughts, right? When you think of meditation, you think of the Buddhist, right, who essentially silences their mind and just sits in silence, right? Now, I've done this myself, and I found it to be hard, but I was able to do it, right? It takes a long time to be able to get to that state, and I don't believe I was, Buddha material, right? I could never essentially go a full hour without thoughts, right? Thoughts are just something that come all the time, whether you want them or not, right? And so she essentially, just lets you, say your mantra, and, thoughts are going to come up. And so you kind of just let those thoughts go and just let it play out, right? And I try to, keep saying your mantra, right? Use your mantra to beat that essential thought away from what is just appearing in your mind, because your thoughts are just, your subconscious is just constantly throwing stuff against the wall, right? Whether you want it to or not. And so this book is really good about that. And I think it's really good for someone who doesn't really have time to meditate. And that's essentially why she created this book, this meditation. And it really helps with that, right? It really shows you how much of a difference it can make in your life, how much meditation needs to be a part of your life, because it really allows you to de-stress. And a lot of people run around with so much stress and then have so little time. That's why she makes it smaller, right? She makes it these smaller windows to try to do that. And essentially allow yourself to get in that deep, beta state which allows your body to recoup, your mind to recoup, right? And so she goes over a bunch of different things in this book about the benefits of the meditation. She goes over what it exactly does, right, when you're in this beta state, and how you get rid of that stress and how much it can impact your life, right? She has stories in there which it's really impacted people's lives, and a bunch of different other things, right, and which it can help, right? It can help in success, it can help in your sex life, it helps in all these different states. And so it was a really good read, right? It was something I really enjoyed. I haven't actually been able, I literally just finished this book, but it is one of those books that I want to reread again, and again look up exactly how to do the meditation. Now I know she goes into this breathing, right? She talks about specific breathing, how you do like a 2-second breathe in, a 4-second breathe out, and then you do this for like 2 minutes. But the key is you're not supposed to be timing this stuff. And that was another big thing she mentioned in this book, is you don't time it, right? You don't set a timer. You try to work with that internal clock, and you'll be impressed. I know even with myself, I've messed with the internal clock and realized that, if you think of a specific time, you can almost hit that like right on the head, right? And a lot of times that's what she's referring to in this book, and essentially just not setting the timer, but just allowing yourself to be, and to not take yourself out of this meditative state by distracting yourself by alarms and all these other different things. And that's another big thing in this meditation, is the last 2 minutes you don't want to just jolt your system and come back online, right? Essentially you want to kind of slowly but surely, and when you're doing this, there's another part of the meditation essentially where the last 2 minutes you're going to start thinking about the things that you want in your life, and you're going to want to involve all your senses when you're doing this in the last 2 minutes, and essentially make that become to reality, right? And that's ultimately what you're trying to do in these meditation states. So again, I haven't actually done these meditation states. I'm just, regurgitating the information I did get, but I am going to actually try this and see if it's something I really want to incorporate. I did find it really intriguing. That's why I wanted to share it with you guys, and found it would be a good book for a lot of people who don't want to sit for an hour in silence, right? Or, perhaps do some other kind of meditation that's for an hour. They feel like their time is, all our time is precious, right? And some people don't want to essentially carve out that time, when it's extremely important to carve out that time, especially for meditation, for your mental health. And so I believe this book is right down your alley, right? If you feel like you're just too busy, read this book and you'll realize the benefits of it and what it can do, and the way it can de-stress your life and make things so much better in your life. And again, not just in different avenues, but in success in life, right? I think it's ultimately important to realize that it's just as important as your regular health, and not to separate the two, right? Because a lot of people like to separate the physical health and the mental health, but the mental health is just as important, and they're one and the same. So nonetheless, as far as like any cons to this book, I didn't have any cons of this book, right? The only con being is that I haven't actually done the meditation, which I'm going to actually do that later today and try it out, right? Because I've always been intrigued by different meditations, and seeing, because I've taken different aspects of other meditations and pieced them together to essentially make what I call my own meditation, right? And so nonetheless, if you are interested in this book, I will actually leave it down in the description below. And also, if you did enjoy this video, remember to hit that like button on the way out. Until next time, I will see you guys later.